In fact, a piece of breaking news which is coming in now. These are new visuals of the blast which has been accessed by India today. The CCTV has captured the impact of the blast, showing how the main car actually blew off, and the impact was felt on four other vehicles next to that car which was being driven by Dr. Umar. So you can see clearly he's in the middle of a traffic and the car blows off, impacting 3 to 4 vehicles next to it. That's the reason why the death toll in this Delhi blast near Red Fort now stands at 10. Shreya, I mean, this is going to be a very important piece of evidence. We can see clearly this is an I-20. So far we know that it is only Dr. Umar who was at the wheel when the blast happened, close to 3 to 4 vehicles, because it's a crowded lane, and it was 6:52 p.m. So you can very well imagine that there were commuters, there were people going back to their homes, and it happens on a very, very busy street. This is the video, the CCTV video of November 10th. Shreya.
Well, Maria, this is the most cleanest and closest CCTV of that blast that's been captured. This is the CCTV of the security control zones that's just attached in front of the traffic point, and that captures the exact moment of the blast. You see very slow moving traffic at around 6:50. That's the timestamp at that CCTV camera. It goes off, and after that, in that CCTV, the kind of light streaks that have been captured, it shows the intensity of the blast, Maria. So far, we have seen multiple CCTVs emerging, but this is probably the closest one that captures the blast from its moment. And as you can see, once that blast goes off, that light comes in, we can see how fire streaks are actually flying around. Everything has just gone helter-skelter. So these are the moments of that day from 10th of November, that dastardly attack when Umar Nabi, he detonated that I-20 car, and the impact of it clearly recorded on that CCTV, Maria, which shows how horrific that blast was that led to the death of so many individuals and injuring so many more.
Yes, and it's in the middle of a busy street, Shreya. And we can see that it is, perhaps there is a traffic jam because there is a red light at this very spot where this blast happens. So the impact is maximum. It's a high intensity blast because it's in the middle of the street that it blows up.
Well, absolutely. And imagine, he knew probably that he wanted a street which is a little bit jam-packed. Remember, he waited at that T5 parking near Suneri Masjid for 3 hours. So he waited for evening to set. That is something probably the investigators will also look in, because that's when you have maximum people. And that is proven on that CCTV. You see the amount of vehicles that are in and around. There is an extremely slow-moving traffic. We all know that in front of Red Fort, at that junction of the Netaji Subhash Marg, there's always a heavy traffic post evening, and that's exactly when 6:50 that car detonates, that impact happens, all of it recorded on this CCTV camera that India Today has exclusively accessed, and you can see the kind of impact this CCTV has recorded. In the end, when you see after the blast goes off, you will see the fire streaks that have actually also captured on the CCTV, which is probably the remnants of the car, which also the investigators right now initially believe also was laden with ammonium nitrate. So clearly, this is a huge piece of evidence that is also going to be looked and relooked by the NIA, the investigative bodies, but extremely shocking CCTV footage that has been captured. And you can see that captures the moment from that point when the car goes off and the blast has been recorded. This is the cleanest CCTV so far from that day of the blast.
Yes, and that I-20, if we look at these visuals, Shreya, which you have accessed, is surrounded by a number of auto walas. So there are auto drivers and auto rickshaws around that vehicle. So, we know about this entire area. It's close to Chandni Chowk. There is a giant temple around it, and at the very entrance of the crucial Red Fort. So, that's why when we say it's a high sensitive zone and a high security zone, and despite that, a vehicle comes, and what could have been done, you know, in the sense that if it is in the middle of a traffic, then what can the police really do at this point?
Well, see, these will be information that will be investigated, Maria, to understand that whether the entire sequence of events was a planned sequence of event. The reason so, we see this man was parked his car for 3 hours. Did he wait for the traffic time to increase? Did he wait for more number of cars? Because clearly, when he parked his car, which was much earlier towards the late afternoon and early evening, that time you wouldn't have seen so much of traffic in this particular route. But now, at this particular point at 6:50 onwards, it's usually jam packed. That's clearly seen in that CCTV. The amount of traffic you see, it's a slow moving traffic. This is not something. What we're also confirming, Maria, the traffic signal was still open when this particular detonation took place, but the traffic was moving extremely slow. That is when this car detonated off. And this CCTV finally that we've exclusively accessed, it gives it out all the kind of impact. And as you were pointing it out, Maria, there are a lot of battery rickshaws and auto rickshaws nearby that also goes with the death toll and the kind of impact that has had, because there are multiple deceased who've been recorded to be auto rickshaw walas, battery rickshaw walas, and unfortunately, these are people who are sole bread earners in the family, and very unfortunate set of events, but all captured on that CCTV that we've managed to access. Extremely shocking and extremely dastardly attack that has taken place, all recorded on CCTV, as you can see on India Today.
Extremely scary at the same time, Shreya, because if we look at these images, there's an I-20 in the middle of the street, and then it blows up. There's an explosion which happens. All those around it are shocked because it's you know, a busy street, and that's where it happens. And then we are also looking at another car which has been now traced and found, which is Eco Sport car, which is linked to the suspects 2 days after the blast happened, of course, and it is aiding the investigators in this vehicle trail. So there is a possibility of other vehicles as well.
Well, there is a possibility, Maria, but the reason we see the red eco spot becoming the object of suspicion, finally being traced down, along with that, we saw another man being arrested, is because that car was registered in the name of Umar Nabi, the man who's done this detonation leading to so many deaths that's been captured on the CCTV. He owned the red Eco Sport car. That is the reason that car needed to be tracked down. Thankfully, it has been tracked down. No untoward reports coming in of that having any kind of explosives laid in. But the man who we know has been detained in that concern is probably the owner and the resident of the farmhouse where that car was also parked. That was traced by the Haryana police. But this I-20 car, Maria, this CCTV probably is one of those clinchers which shows that final moment of how that blast took place. In seconds, that I-20 car just blows off. It's in middle of that traffic, Maria. We can all see that I-20 car. It suddenly blows off, and the amount of light that it emits, it shows the kind of intensity that this blast actually had. And you see the flares that goes up after that. Everything just scattered around after it. Clearly an unfortunate moment in history, all recorded on CCTV. And finally, we've accessed that, and our viewers can probably get a sense of how sad and dastardly that attack was, that took place at 6:52 p.m. Is what we know. Because remember, on that very day, the Delhi Police Commissioner confirmed it, and he announced it before the media that it was a slow-moving car which detonated, leading to that blast that the government has now officially called a terror attack.
And Shreya, this is an act of terror, a dastardly act of terror, as it is being called, a sinister plot, which all leads to what the plotters were thinking, that they will be able to make that impact on 6th of December. So it has certainly been unraveled by the investigating agencies, the counter-terrorism forces of India, much before that, thankfully for the country. But 10 lives have been lost. Particularly, if we look at this visual, it's extremely concerning. A vehicle is in the middle of a traffic. There is a red light. That's where this I-20, in which Dr. Umar is at the wheel, has stopped. And then it blows up. There's an explosion which happens. What is being told is that Dr. Umar acted in haste, that this was not part of their plan. And that happened because his co-conspirators had been arrested earlier that day.